Hi guys, it's Cal from Nerdy Weasel. If you mod games like Skyrim, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, or even Oblivion, you know the value of Loot, the Load Order Optimization Tool, and how it stabilizes your game by correctly setting your load order. Recently, Loot was updated to version 0.7.0, and it has some major improvements. Features include better sorting and an all-new interface. This video will cover how to install and update Loot for your games and how to integrate it into Mod Organizer. So let's get started and head to the desktop. Alright guys, so here we are at the desktop, and I wanted to show you first, with Loot being updated, I wanted to show you where to get it. Loot 0.7.0 is available on the GitHub. You can see the address right here, github.com, loot/loot. Releases, I'll put this address in the description so you can go get this. And you can go ahead and read all the change logs and whatnot, but you come down here and you get the installer. Just get the installer, it's probably the easiest way, but if you're willing to dig around in these things and do this different stuff, you can get the API Z file or the Loot raw archives. That's a 7-zip file. If you want to read the changelogs and the README, you can see it here. Full changelog since version 0.6.1 can be viewed at the README. You can go and look at that and read all that stuff. I'll tell you all about that, but we'll go ahead and go back. And you come down here and you click the installer and download it to your desktop. I already have it here, and you can see it right there. Okay. But there's something we have to do first, and that is to go into where you have Loot on your computer. And mine is in my games drive, which is this one right here. And you can see it right here. You open this up, you have Loot, open that up, and you hit uninstall.exec. And we go ahead and click that and let it run. Yes, we want to run that. And please choose language. Yes, okay, English. And it said guide through installation of that. Okay, make it next. Select components to install Loot and user files. So Loot's user files and settings files. We don't want to install that. Pay close attention to that. If you have settings that you use, you may want to hold on to this. So you're just going to uninstall Loot. Okay, hit next, and be uninstalled from the following folder. Check uninstall to start the installation. Yes, okay, uninstall it. There we go. Say now it's gone, but it's kept the resources. So we go ahead and close that. Now that that's done, we'll just minimize this down. And you want to click the Loot installation for version 7.0. Okay, there you go, 0.7.0. That, and you hit install. Yes. Select language, and you have multiple languages here. You can choose the one you want. Of course, I speak English, so we'll hit English. Welcome to Loot version 0.7.0 setup. Click next to continue. Next. And we want to go ahead and browse. It's when I go to install it on our C drive, I don't want it there. If you followed any of my other tutorials, I generally want to install it on my games drive. So hit browse, and we go to computer, and click on the E drive. And you can see we have Loot right there. Select that, and we go ahead and just go ahead. Remember, we had resources, we want to save that stuff, so we go ahead, click, highlight that, Loot, open. Okay. And it's going to install that drive. And it is completed. So you hit next. And you can run Loot and you can run the README, but let's just run it and see what happens. And this will be kind of interesting. It'll be a test. And you can view the README, finish. And here are the READMEs, and I would go through and read this stuff, installation and uninstallation, how to use Loot, initialization, read all this stuff on how to use it. I'll show you the basics. Plugin card, sidebar items, how to read all of this, how to understand what it does. Editing the plugin metadata. This is all important stuff. It's a lot more powerful now, and you should know how to read it, how to use it, and go through all this stuff. There's a ton of settings. So that's just what it is, and we'll minimize that down. You'll be presented with this window for the first time. First time tips. This appears to be your first time you've run Loot version 0.7.0. Here are some tips to help you get started with the interface. Okay, open menus. All right, click this stuff, read all this stuff. And I would go ahead and read this for sure. And if you do want to donate to these guys, go ahead and loot is free, but if you want to show your appreciation with some money, donations may be made to Wrinkly Ninja, Loot's creator and main developer, using PayPal, Bitcoin, or Flutter. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and donate to him because that's part of the new mission statement for Dirty Weasel Media, is that I will be donating to any mod makers in the future on any videos that I produce. So that's I'll have an announcement on that coming up, but that's later. So click OK. Now, this is the new interface. It's pretty slick looking, isn't it? And you'll notice that you have, Skyrim's the first one, but if you click this drop down, you will see the other games that you may have installed. Okay, I have Fallout New Vegas on my games drive, and that is one option. And you can pick that, but you'll notice it's just the basics. I mean, it's just the ESM files. If you go back and look at Skyrim, it's just the ESM files. That's because when you run this separately, not through Mod Organizer, it will only have the base files. All right. So this is, not for Mod Organizer users. This is for Nexus Mod Manager users. If you were to install this the old-fashioned way using Nexus Mod Manager, you would then go ahead and go into your files, into Loot. Okay. And you'd have the .exe right there. You would then click create a shortcut and run it that way. That's way Nexus Mod Manager users can use it the way they used to, but we're using Mod Organizer, so we want to go ahead and do that. So we're just going to close this. It's not useful for us right now. So go ahead and close that, and we can set this aside. We've done use that. Step one is I'm going to go ahead and pick Fallout New Vegas Mod Organizer, right? And we're just going to use it for that to start with, and we'll open that up and take a look. Now, you may know that executables are always in this little gear file right here. I have Loot already installed. This is the old Loot settings. If I wanted to go ahead and install this for the first time, choose something else like NVSE. And if you're a first-time installer, you may not have Loot already there. So you just click something else, right? Click New Vegas, let's say. And you would put in Loot. Right, and then you check your binaries. You've seen me do this before, and you can see I already have it open, ready to go. So you just click this, ready to go. But if you wanted to put it on your computer, just do this. That's my games drive. Open Loot. There it is. Click that. Open. Okay. Now it's set the binary correct. All right, and then you'd click Modify, and it would create a new Loot. But we're not doing that, so I would always unclick this, by the way. Click Modify and then close. I'm just going to close that. Yeah, I know. No, I don't want to save them. So if you are like me and you already have Loot already installed, I would go ahead and highlight it, double check your binaries because it may have changed slightly. Okay, once again, we talked about it's on my games drive, it's under the Loot, and you click this, the executable, open. And now you have this, and you have, go ahead and click Modify and close it. Now you have it on your drop down. Right? There's Loot. Ready to go. Now, I'm just going to close this temporarily. I'm going to open up Skyrim. And I'm going to do the same thing over there. Highlight Loot. Just check check it again. Do it. Open it. Modify it. And close. Now you can go ahead and check it there. You can go ahead and run it. I'm also going to set a toolbar. There's my toolbar. There's Loot right there. Since I modified it, it removed it from my toolbar. So when you open Skyrim now, you click Run on this. It'll check all your plugins, all your metadata. And the list looks very much different than it used to before, doesn't it? It has all of my plugins and all of my mods in here. And that is what you presently have. This is your present load order. You can see Patches Maximus is my last one. It's always at the bottom here. This is the old one. And you can see on this side is basically the same thing. This will give you all your messages too. Let's go ahead, now that we've set that up, the basics, let's go ahead and show you. Just go ahead and close that. We didn't do anything. Didn't reset anything. Didn't hit apply, didn't hit sort, so nothing's changed. Go ahead, and I'm just going to put this back to my old way and close this. This is where it gets interesting. For mod organizer users, this is very specific. We're going to open up Fallout New Vegas again. And remember, you have Loot Light, this button right here. This is the Loot Light button that we're all familiar with. Does the Loot Light that basically will reorder things, but I don't really trust it. And I want the mod organizer to use the new loot. I can go ahead and use my drop down, my shortcut again to my toolbar, and run loot. Okay, merging datas. See, we have Skyrim was the last one open, so we want to go ahead and change it to Fallout New Vegas. And we'll evaluate. And we have all of our stuff. Okay, this is what I have up to now. So this is updated. You notice it is different because now it's accessing your game through Mod Organizer, and it knows how to see it. Right? That's the main difference. Now, I'm going to go and close that. I don't care. But let's say you wanted to sort your plugins using the Loot Light button right here. We'll go ahead and just show you how to do that real fast. Go ahead and close Mod Organizer. And we'll go back to our file system and open up where we had loot. Open that up. And everything you see here, okay, just Control A. Control A, just like that. Now we can go ahead and copy that all. And you're going to go back into your games drive. You're going to go into Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Fallout New Vegas, and you have Mod Organizer right here. Open that up and you'll see loot. I want you to go ahead and look at that. Just look at resources and loot CLI.exe. Remember that. We'll come back to that. Go back. I want you to rename it. I'm just going to rename it Loot Old. Right? Well, actually, let's try it again. Rename it Loot Old. There we go. That's a different file. Now, I want you to right-click anywhere again. We're going to add a new folder. And we will call it Loot. You know, it's not all in capitals there. Open that up. You now have a blank file. I want you to right-click on it and paste. Now, see this loot.exe? Remember we had this, the loot old, loot.cli.exe. All right, go back, and we are now into our new loot folder. Right-click, highlight it, right-click it, rename it. It was all lowercase, so loot.cli.exe. Okay? Now, that will now run, now that that's been saved, when we open this up. Come on. Now when we hit sort with that button, boom! It's now running Loot version 0.7.0. And it has all this stuff. And sometimes you'll get, and see this right here? Go back and do it again. I don't know why it does that, but it just does it. Okay. So it's now running loot correctly. So if you don't want, if you're not like me and you like having the toolbar up here, you can just hit this and it will run loot the same way. Okay. Pretty cool, huh? So how do we use Loot version 0.7.0 to sort our plugins? We're going to make a change. I've already optimized this for a mistake, and that would be to have Project Reality. Where did I put it? Made it so I had a mistake on here. Where was it? Project Reality. There it is. I went at the bottom. So here we go. Project Reality. We know Project Reality needs to be at the bottom. We know that. We're going to put it at the top. Okay. We now know this will shortcut the game and it will crash the desktop because it needs to be at the bottom. You're going to have a ton of errors. So we'll go ahead and run loot and see what happens. We run it, get the new interface right there, and it's going to check our logins, our plugins. And you can see over here, we'll just do this again. Boom, boom. You can see we have all of them down here, and you can see Project Reality is in the wrong space. It should be at the bottom here, but it's not. It's up here. Project, where is it? Project Reality. There it is. Project Reality. It needs to be at the bottom. So how would you sort this? Is over here. See the sort plugins right through here? You're going to go ahead and click that. Remember we have this over here. This is wrong. We know this is wrong. So go ahead and click this. Sort plugins. Updating parsing master disk. Now if you come back and look at this list again, here's all your warnings, your edits, and all this stuff. This is all in one page now. It doesn't open 2 pages. So you can see all of your information. You scroll down. Verts WFO. Remember, this is a error that you'll get. It's just a warning. Don't worry about it. But you come down, it's now placed Project Reality at the bottom. Right? And now the plugins that it's listing will be at the bottom again. So it's now fixed. So if you want to make that change, you click Apply. And you close. When you come back and check it, look at it right now. Project Reality is back at the bottom. Okay, so it's now fixed your load order quite simply. It's a nice, elegant little interface, and it does everything all at once. You know, we've changed that for Fallout New Vegas. If you wanted to go ahead and do the same thing for Skyrim, because it is your own, you know, it has Mod Organizer will have a loot light for it as well. You have to go into your files and change it as well. So just keep that in mind. You know, you'd go into your eDrive where you have your games, Steam Apps, Common, Skyrim, Mod Organizer, and there's Loot again. Right? That's the old Loot Light. So you want to do the same thing, rename it, Loot Old, Loot Old, and create a new file, folder, call it Loot. Open that up. Paste what we had before. Remember the same thing. Right? There we go. And there you have it. And you go and highlight, rename, loot cli.exe. Just like that. Right? Go ahead and close that. Skyrim, just to check to make sure it all works. Hit our sort button. Boom. Works the same way. Okay? Change it to Skyrim. There we go. Alright. We have everything in here. Now I'm not going to sort this because this is my custom load order. But if you want to use it, you can do that. So go and close that down. So we've now fixed it so you can use the new loot through your drop-down menu, through your toolbar, through your sort button. Everything's now using Loot 0.7.0. Now, I haven't run into this error yet. I'm just going to close this down, open this up. There is an instance where they're reporting a bug where sometimes you'll run loot and you'll just get a blank screen. I haven't got that error, right? So, but some people are reporting it. I'm going to show you how to fix that. We'll just go back to Fallout New Vegas. I'm going to show you how to fix that. There we go. Now we know it's running correctly. If you end up getting a blank screen on that, there is an argument that will fix that. And thanks to TerraFox on the Reddit forums for pointing this out. Like I said, I haven't run into this problem, but other people have. I want you to know about it. So if you are getting that blank screen when you open up the new loot, I want you to go into your executables, highlight loot, and in arguments, down here in the argument section, I want you to put this, --, single hyphen process, and then click modify. So now you have loot, single process.modify, you can go ahead and close. Right? I haven't tested this. We're going to test this for the first time. We're going to see what happens. And when we do that, that seems to work just fine. I don't know what does that little graphic thing. Anyways, it seems to work just fine. Okay, there you go. That works. Now, like I said, if you do use Mod Organizer for more games, if you use it for Fallout New Vegas, if you use it for Skyrim, if you use it for then Fallout 3, Oblivion, you'll have to make those changes in the Loot Light, in the executable for the sort button on that. But there you go. It should work just fine. That was a quick one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you find it helpful. My name's Cal. I'm from Dirty Weasel, and I'm signing off.